What is going on, guys? My name's Tyler and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about how to get rich in real estate, or how I like to say it, build wealth in real estate. Now in this video we're going to go over kind of the basic strategy that many investors follow. Keep in mind there are going to be different ways of approaching it, and I'm just going to cover one way. We're going to go over how I'm approaching this strategy in my own kind of way, and kind of how you could do it too. Keep in mind there are many smaller parts, many things you're going to have to fill in the cracks for. This is because real estate can't really all be explained in one video. As a result, I'm kind of going to go over an overview of all the concepts, but it's important to know that real estate is really a bunch of common sense and basic concepts. So it's not like rocket science or anything, it just takes a little bit of learning. People think it can get really complicated, but really when you get into it, it's not near as complicated as people make it out to be. And I think it's important to keep things simple, especially when investing in real estate and really any other investment. With that out of the way, let's get into it. To start out, I'm going to kind of discuss two concepts. In real estate, the two main concepts are leveraging and making the most return on your money. Leveraging is basically taking your money and getting a loan with it. So the reason people get loans, real estate investors get loans on houses, is so they can better leverage their money. In other words, they're using the bank's money to make them money. By leveraging their money, they're able to take a smaller amount of money and spread it into much more deals. This is why, say when you buy a house for $100,000, you put down $20,000 and then use the bank's money to pay for the rest. Now, the important thing with leveraging is, especially in real estate investing, is you don't want to over leverage yourself. This means you're gonna have to have that monthly payment every single month for each property you own, and that's gonna pay the mortgage on the property back to the bank. The big thing with real estate investing is you wanna be able to pay this mortgage off for every single one of your properties every month. That's where people get into trouble with basically going bankrupt, is they can't make this payment every month, say when something bad happens, or some kind of depression or some kind of recession. They just can't make this payment, and that's what causes you to pretty much fail at investing in real estate. That's really the biggest risk and the biggest thing you need to avoid. I'd say a number to shoot for is having at least 6 months of basically reserve money to have to pay your mortgage off, and maybe any other expenses that might come along with the property. Say fixing a sink, fixing a garbage disposal, buying a new fridge, just small things that might happen, that are bound to happen when having rental properties. The reason we even leverage our money in the first place is, as I wrote right here, to get the most return on your money. In order to explain getting a return on your money, I'm gonna kind of make a small deal for you here that kind of explains the concept. We're gonna take a basic $100,000 deal right now and explain it. Now this is gonna be a residential deal, or a deal on a property that someone would live in. However, this same concept applies to commercial real estate, which can be hotels, apartments, etc. Take this and put it on a bigger scale, and that's basically how commercial and bigger deals are gonna go. We have $20,000 we'd like to invest in real estate. The house we're buying is worth $100,000. Most of the time, banks will make you put 20% down on a rental property that you're using as an investment. So in order to buy the deal, you're gonna need around $20,000. Keep in mind, there are gonna be closing costs and other expenses associated with it. You probably need more like $25,000 to get in the deal, but for simplicity's sake, we're gonna go with $20,000 because that's gonna be your down payment. So you need $20,000 to buy a $100,000 house. There's gonna be a lot of steps that have to be taken between buying the house and then getting it rented, but we're gonna skip to renting it for simplicity's sake. After you've bought in the deal and you've got someone renting it, you're charging them $1,000 to rent the house out from you. That $1,000 is gonna be used to both pay your mortgage, pay your insurance, and pay really any of the other expenses that come with the house. After all your expenses, your mortgage, your insurance, your taxes, maybe paying for a couple things to fix up the property, you're gonna profit every month $500. This is gonna be the money you put back in your pocket every single month, $500. In other words, that would be the return on your investment every single month. It's important to note here that your expenses on the property every month, your mortgage, your property insurance, all that must be less than the rent you receive every month. Never go into a property where you aren't gonna make money every month. You aren't gonna cash flow every month. Say we're trying to find how much our return on the property is, how much we're getting for the money we invested. As I said earlier, for the example we're using, we're making $500 every single month off the property after all our expenses are paid for the property. Take that 500 times 12 months in a year, and you're gonna get $6,000 per year that you're gonna make off the property. Then we're gonna take that $6,000 we make every single year and divide it by the amount of money we put into the deal. So this is gonna be the down payment, the amount of money we put into the deal in the first place. This is all the money we have invested in this deal. On this $100,000 house we bought, we've only put $20,000 into the property, and that's our investment. We're gonna take the $6,000 we made off the property throughout the entire year, this is all profit, and divide it by 20,000. 6,000 divided by 20,000 is 0.3. Times 100, you're gonna get 30%. We're making 30% on our money every single year for the money we invested in the property. Now, if you know anything about investing in real estate, that is an extremely high return. That is not probably a realistic return on your money to expect from real estate. I'd say if you get anywhere around 10%, I'd call that really good. However, if you're in the right area, I've seen a lot of the properties in the Midwest that cash flow a lot as compared to the ones maybe on the coast where it's more about appreciation in your property and not cash flow. I'd say you could probably get around this return, but it's not likely. The key is to have a return on your money that you find valuable. It's gonna be different for everyone, and everyone's gonna find different numbers of return preferable. The smaller the return you desire, usually the more deals that are gonna be available for you. The bigger return you desire from your money, say if you're desiring 50% return on your money, you're not gonna find many deals that are able to make you that. It's important to mention once again that a lot of work is gonna go into getting to the point where you're making money every single year. You're gonna have to be managing that property. You're gonna have to be making sure you're protecting your investment, your rental property. It's not gonna be as easy as it looks on the whiteboard, but it's definitely possible. Next, I'm kinda gonna show just a linear line on kind of how real estate investors develop into bigger and bigger properties as you go. The key with real estate is to take the profit you're making off all these properties and reinvest it back into other deals. Reinvest it back into down payments on more and more properties. That's how you continue to build out on your properties, and then in return, the money you make each month off of them builds up. Keep in mind, people will be buying, people will be shuffling around their properties. They're gonna be reinvesting back into bigger properties. They're gonna be selling smaller ones, selling bigger ones, maybe getting smaller ones. But the overall concept is to take money and continuously reinvest it to make more money. To kind of explain how a bunch of wealth is built in real estate, I'm gonna draw out a linear relationship between how properties kind of progress in someone's portfolio. Or for example, this is kind of how I want my portfolio to go. When you're thinking about reinvesting back into more properties, usually people are gonna start with residential properties. This is gonna be properties between 1 and 4 units, and they're usually gonna be properties that people live in. This is where you kind of start because the deals are cheaper. The higher you get in this, the more expensive the deal is gonna be. So after you say you have maybe 30 residential properties, or even less, maybe you have 10 properties, you may wanna sell some of these or take the profits from these residential properties and invest them in commercial real estate. Now, commercial real estate is gonna be things like malls, strip malls, hotels, apartment buildings, anything over 4 units or anything used for retail. These deals are gonna be much more expensive. However, the returns of them are gonna be greater as a result. In other words, you're gonna be putting more money into a deal, but you're gonna get more money back. The final step in real estate that not everyone gets to, maybe people wanna stop here, maybe people wanna stop in residential. You don't always have to go all the way up this line. It's just kind of how real estate goes when you're really trying to get to the very top of real estate. It's called triple net. Triple net is where you buy a building, for example, that a business is in. Say you bought a Walmart supercenter. The Walmart, the business occupying the building, is gonna pay for taxes, they're gonna pay for insurance, they're gonna pay for basically maintenance of the entire building. In this deal, all the property owner has to do is collect rent every single month. The people occupying the building, the Walmart supercenter, in this example, is gonna be paying every other expense. The landowner is gonna be getting the rent every month and paying off their mortgage every month. This is why this is typically the peak of real estate, is because the landowner is doing pretty much as little as possible. When you're leveraging your money and putting your money into more deals and making your portfolio bigger and bigger, it starts to compound on itself. The more houses you have, the more rent you're gonna get, the more houses you're gonna be able to buy. It kind of works like this. Here's a compound line. You're gonna start small. You're not gonna be making a lot of money on rent, and then that rent's gonna start to stack. You're gonna buy more properties. It's gonna get bigger. It's gonna get bigger. Buy more properties, reinvest the money. Gets bigger, gets bigger. And right here we have time. So as time goes on, it gets bigger, and your money continues to grow. And that kind of is how you build wealth in real estate. A small note on that, a way people use in real estate, a way that they can pull their money basically out of deals and reinvest it into another property, essentially making the property they just bought free and making them money through rent, is the BRRRR strategy. Many people call this the BRRRR strategy because it goes BRRR. The first thing to do in investing in properties through the BRRRR strategy is to buy the property. You buy a property usually for a really good deal. Like you buy the property for maybe 80% of what it's worth. So you know you're getting a good deal and you know you can do some rehab on it to make the property worth more. Of course, there's many things that go into the rehab. You're gonna have to know how much stuff is worth to fix up, and that stuff you're gonna have to figure out through maybe reading books, or really the internet will answer any of your questions. Next thing you're gonna do after you fix up the property and made it worth more than you originally thought it was, and you bought it for less than it was originally worth, is you're gonna rent it out. Now with this rent and rehab already done to it, the property is of course going to be worth way more than it was when you bought it. Then you're going to go to the bank and you're going to ask them to get a loan on it. Now because the property is worth more than what you bought it for, the bank is going to loan you enough money that you're going to be able to take all the money you put into the property out and use it for another deal. You now have a property that cash flows because your rent is making you more money than your mortgage due to that refinance. And you can take that money that you originally put in the deal, take it out because the bank's money is now in there, and use it on another deal. And that's why the last step is repeat. This is just a small concept within real estate that you can keep in mind. If this didn't really explain it too well, definitely look it up. It's a really good strategy, especially later on in real estate investing. Me, myself, can't do it yet because in order to do these kind of deals, you have to use all cash to buy the property from the beginning. Then after you fix up the property and get it rented out, you go and refinance it with a bank and get all your money back through the bank's loan. Now we're ready for the criteria part of this video. However, I think this video is probably gonna be longer than I think it is, so I'm gonna split this into a second part. I hope this kind of gave you a brief overview of rental property investing strategies and kind of the strategy I choose to use and the strategy many other people choose to use. A quick note, I do work in the real estate industry. I'm a real estate agent, done a few deals myself, and I've also owned my own rental property. So this is just some knowledge I've gathered through books and then real life experience. This is just some knowledge I've gathered and been able to kind of understand, and hopefully I can portray it to you to understand too. Don't take me as someone who's the most experienced in the industry because I'm definitely not, but I do feel I have a grasp on kind of how the strategy works and enough of an understanding that I can hopefully help whoever's watching. With that being said, look forward to the next video. If you enjoyed this type of video, definitely stick around and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.